round one of the decade season D-League playoffs are complete. Happy to say you're still alive. Well, you had a bye. Yeah. You had a bye
for this now. Start paying attention again.
Yeah, I survived against Trent, and excuse me if I'm not paying attention. I have it's Thursday night here. I don't know when you guys will be watching this. Thursday night here, we have the Saints, the Rams game on. Cooper Kupp is going for me in round 2 of the playoffs. So if I'm a little distracted, you know why. But welcome back, everybody, to episode 16, I think now.
Episode 16.
First off, I just want to say kudos to us, because I mean, it takes some serious dedication to actually put this out week by week, and it doesn't seem like it would be hard, but honestly, just finding the time and busy schedules is hard. So
and we're dealing with the time difference too, so
100%
plays a factor.
So let's jump right into it. Hang on, we have first and goal, handoff. He's short. Come on, Kupp, baby. Started off strong. Let's just start it off with a little bit of a Lions recap. What a bounce back game by the Lions. The offense looked great. The defense looked even better. And I'll tell you what, Aaron Glenn was on the hot seat, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of a lot of other Lions fans before this game. The scheme looked like it didn't look like anything we'd ever seen before from the Lions, at least not this season, as far as like the different things they did at the line of scrimmage with like their stunts and the blitzes, man. Aaron Glenn was blitzing almost every play.
Yeah, I think I texted you mid-game asking, because there was either a corner or a safety blitz, asking, like, have we seen that yet this year? It really seems like we haven't, but he was sending all kinds of different pressure at him. Pascal had a great game on defense. He looked awesome. And once James Houston comes back and we get CJ back, that defense is going to be maybe not scary, but they'll at least be average to above average, and that's really all this team needs when our O-line's healthy and Goff's cooking like he was Saturday night. That was exactly the type of game you wanted to see as a Lions fan, and now let's hope they can get the job done in Minnesota.
Yeah, and that was exactly the type of game that Mark... No, he dropped it on the goal line. He dropped it on the goal line. This could come back to haunt me. No. But that was the type of game that Mark Mauser loved to see. 41 points from Mr. Goff, and really, really helped him there. But yeah, great performance by the Lions. Tough finish to the season with Minnesota twice and at Dallas. That'll be a fun one. But they're very much in play, maybe for the 1 seed. It could happen. Things would have to fall our way.
It could.
But I mean, we should have a home playoff game.
Yeah, 100%. If we don't have a home playoff game, then this was a failure to end the season. I mean, it was in our hands.
Yeah, 100%.
So we got Cooper Kupp in motion here.
Yeah,
looks like he's looking his way. Nope, Puka.
That guy's a beast, man.
Yeah.
Puka's a beast. That sucks. But anyways, let's jump into fantasy football. Not a ton of content for you this week. We were going to do some interviews, but it just didn't work out logistics-wise with trying to bring the other 2 semifinalists here on the podcast. So we're just going to do some recaps. We're going to look into the matchups coming up this week, or I guess starting right now. And then we're going to get you out of here. So we'll start with, I guess, my game. The Ogama Jobbers in a rivalry game against Turn Your Head and Goff. And my guys came to play. In a week where Dak Prescott was terrible, and he's been carrying my team for the last 6 or 7 weeks. In a week where he was terrible, I think he had 6 points. Everybody else on my team stepped up big time, put up almost 130 points, and it just proved to be a little bit too much for Turn Your Head and Goff.
Yeah, I'll say this, starting your week off Thursday Night Football with your defense putting up 30 points, you're destined to win at that point. It feels like when you have that, especially a position like defense, put up that many points that early in the week, Trent just had an impossible hill to climb. The rest of your team had some great performances. I mean, Laporta had a 3-touchdown game. He looked awesome.
And that was on Saturday night too. Saturday night.
Before we get to the Sunday slate.
Yeah, I was feeling good going into Sunday because I had Laporta and my defense combined for over 50 points, but I was still nervous. And Trent tried to early GG me. I didn't fall into it.
Yeah, Trent, it wasn't a good week from his squad, but he had to make some tough decisions. He ended up going with Brock Purdy over Patrick Mahomes, and ended up being the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
And it still wasn't nearly enough to get the job done. Just in fantasy football, sometimes it's not your week, and unfortunately, last week it wasn't Trent's week, and now we have a co-host or a host co-host semifinal battle to look forward to. So thank you for your contribution there, Trent.
Yeah, and I just want to say again, good game, Trent. GG's. Hell of a season. I mean, first season back in fantasy football and probably at least 5, if not pretty close to 10 years. And a great season, really. Like, not only did he draft a pretty good team, but he made some big pickups along the way, and he had a good run. I'm happy to say that I did beat him, but let's take nothing away from a successful season, and I think he'll be right back in the mix next year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great performance from Trent year one. And I'll say this real quick. I think fantasy football has a lot of luck involved with it, but I think it does take a good amount of skill to reach the playoffs. It's a matter of stringing together multiple high scoring weeks in the playoffs where the luck part really factors in. Mm-hmm. So, Trent, first year back in fantasy, had the skill to get in the playoffs. I'm looking forward to see what he can do next year, but let's move on to the next matchup. We had another rivalry matchup. Mm-hmm. The Mark's Flying Circus taking on the Fort Wayne Mad Ants, and Mark, he swept Jake in the regular season, gets 3 in a row on him this year. I mean, that's the ultimate bragging rights. Mark's has just loved the past week.
Yeah, I mean, we talked last week in last week's podcast about how the first 2 games meant nothing, and if this was the one that Jake could get from Mark, then he would have the ultimate bragging rights, even though he had a 1-2 season against Mark. So. Big time win by Mark to get it done, to complete the sweep, and to move his team into the semifinals. And I know we said this halfway through the season. We had Mark like multiple times, I think in the top 3 in the power rankings, and we said we could see his team, going all the way. It does help when Jared Goff goes for 41 points. That always helps.
Certainly.
And we'll see, because if Jared Goff can have another good week against Minnesota, I could see it happening. But then he has to go, if Mark makes a championship, he has to go to Dallas. And we know how Jared Goff plays on the road, and we know how that Dallas defense is. Does Mark stick with Goff in that game? I mean, you'd have to think he does, but that's a really tough matchup for that Lions offense.
Yeah. At least it's in a dome. Goff does struggle in road games, but I think a lot of those road games struggles with it's outdoor in the elements, whereas this one inside a controlled, heated environment. The Cali boy maybe he does some favors. I mean, the Seattle just went into Dallas a couple weeks ago on Thursday Night Football and had a hell of a performance. So maybe the Lions could go up there and put up some points, but it will be some interesting decisions with him starting Goff. I don't think he has another quarterback on his roster, so you have to look towards the waiver wire.
And let's not get ahead of ourselves either. He's got to take down the king.
He's got to win this week.
He's got to take down the king, and that's Lang's football team. Lang's football team, they didn't put up a great performance last week, but they weren't playing anybody. So now that they have somebody in a different colored jersey to go up against this week, I mean, I'm honestly, I might be more excited for their game than I am ours. Because I know how ours is going to go. I mean, obviously, you had a good season. It's sad it has to end here, but I'm excited for their game too.
Yeah, no, Mark, I am curious to see how his team does. They did have a hell of a performance last week, but that was on the backs of Jared Goff and Amon-Ra. But I mean, he's got Derrick Henry on his team right now. Derrick Henry, I mean, he's fallen off a cliff this year. I mean, last year he was a great fantasy asset, and this year, start the year he was solid, but it's been downhill. I mean, last week he put up 1 point. Will Levis might be hurt now, so they're going to go back to Tannehill. I don't know how that's going to look for the Titans. It's going to be tough moving forward. And then he's got A-Chain, who had a couple good weeks this year, but hasn't done a ton since then. And
that Miami offense, they just have so many weapons that it's almost, I mean, when you have Tyreek Hill on your team, and even Jalen Waddle without Tyreek Hill played so well. And then Raheem Mostert too. Don't forget about him. So when you have that many weapons on offense, obviously I think a few explosive weeks can happen and did happen, but that consistency that you'd be looking for in a fantasy football player with A-Chain, I don't know if it's there just because there's so many other options on that offense.
No, absolutely. I don't think they want to use him as a workhorse running back, and they won't. So you won't get that guaranteed production. I think it's pretty similar to how the 49ers are. The 49ers have a ton of weapons with Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, CMC. Really, the only consistent one on that team is CMC. The rest of them have great weeks all the time, but they also have weeks where they do absolutely nothing because they don't need to. Right. So it's an interesting dynamic. Mark, hell of a season. He's made it this far. Hopefully he can knock off Ashton. I'm looking forward to that matchup. But once again, Mark, great job completing the sweep on Jake.
Yeah, and I do want to mix this in here. Two things, actually. One, I feel like all the pressure is on you and Ashton because you guys have had the two best teams the whole year. Mark and I are just like, we're playing with house money at this point. I finished 6-8. He finishes, I think, 7-7. And we're playing with house money at this point. We got nothing to lose. So, why not go out and win? So I feel like the pressure's on you and Ashton a little bit. And then two, I want to say, out of 4 semifinalists, 3 are out of the Maroon division, and it seems like it's the same story every year. When it comes down to crunch time, the Maroon division just shows up, and that's just how it is.
Yeah, you said Ashton and I have the most pressure. I would argue and say I do. I'm the only one pulling for the gold division right now, and I've been talking a lot of smack towards the Maroon division all year. So now it's time for me to go in there and back it up, and I'm looking forward to these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they're going to be fun. But yeah, great season, Jake. Apologies if we ever came at your team too hard over the course of the season. It's always in good fun. So much respect to the Mad Ants. You had a great season. You had some insane performances. And, we won't be surprised to see you back in the postseason next year as well.
Absolutely. Shall we go on to the semi preview?
Let's do it. The semi preview. 10 started the season, 4 are left standing, and that number will be down to 2 after this week. So we'll start it off with looks like your game, our game here. The Ogama Do You Jobbers versus Clark Bars football team. 2 guys that thought it might be fun to start a fantasy football podcast at the start of the year. The only way that this script could have been written better is if we both made it to the championship, but a playoff matchup nonetheless is just incredible.
Yeah, it certainly seems scripted. Last week we had the Dieterle Bowl and then the Mauser Bowl, and now we have us battling. And now, I don't know if we could have had this in the finals, absolutely, it would have been awesome. But I'm glad we got our matchup. And, not gonna lie, I'm nervous as hell, man. I've been trashing some players on your team. I fully expect Rachaad White to have a legacy game on Sunday and go off for like 40 points and just make me eat my words. I'm excited. I have a good squad. We've had a couple people go down late in the year, but I think my core is still intact. And, CMC plays one of the toughest defenses in the league, Monday Night Football. And it's going to come down to that. And, I wouldn't want it any other way. We could go into that game and I could be down 30 points and I'd still have plenty of hope.
Yeah. Honestly, I think here's the key to the game. If we can keep CMC under 20 points would just feel like a massive win. Under 20 would feel like a massive win. I think we have a shot. I don't know, man. I think it's going to be close. I think my team has so many players that can go off, but also a lot of players that can finish the week at like 1.2 points. So I wouldn't be surprised to see my team go absolutely nuclear. I also wouldn't be surprised to put up like 78. So
yeah, hopefully
that's the thing is I
love that.
I feel like your team's a little bit more consistent than mine, but my team also does have that big play capability. So I don't know, man. It's going to be tough right now. At this moment, Cooper Kupp has less than 1 point at the end of the first quarter. So not a great start, but a lot of
plenty of game left.
A lot of football left. Let me ask you this, and I'll do the same. I promise. Take my word for it. Give me your prediction, final score, and winner. I'll do the same. I'm not going to leave you out to dry.
All right, I'm going to say final score, Clark Bars football team 115, Ogama Do You Jobbers 111. I think CMC comes through Monday Night Football for me and gets just enough points. I don't think he's going to have a stellar performance, but I don't think he's going to need to. I think if we're going to go into Monday Night Football, I'm going to need maybe like 15 points out of him, and he comes through with 20, and I managed to squeak out a W. So that's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'm predicting.
Yeah, I like it. I'm terrified of Monday night. Like I honestly I'm
It's
honest.
just the Ravens, though. It's
Yeah.
not like he's playing like the Cardinals or someone crappy like that. He's actually playing against a solid defense.
Yeah, I just know like I'll be up like you said, like 22 points or something going into Monday night, and I'll just be sweating the whole time. He'll punch in a touchdown on the first drive, and I'll be like, it's over. If I had to make a prediction, man, it's tough. I think I would give it to you. I just feel like I'm mixing in a couple guys that haven't played well lately. I put in DeAndre Swift this week, and I think he has, the chance to score a lot of points. But at the same time, like sometimes he's in that same situation as A-Chain. Like sometimes he just doesn't get the ball with, Smith and AJ Brown, who I don't want to see have a good game. And then even Kenneth Gainwell, like taking away so many touches from Swift. So he hasn't played well lately. I had to mix in Kelvin Ridley this week, who, gosh, has just tortured me all year. Whenever I play him, he sucks. Whenever I bench him, he does amazing. So I mixed him in.
Going with Jordan Addison? That's the Lions secondary?
I don't think so, man. Something in me I just went with my gut this week. I really did. All right. But if I had to make a score prediction, I don't think we cross the century mark. I think we finish around like 90, like 2. And I don't think your team goes off either, but I think you go like 110. I would say like 110 to 92 would be my score prediction. I think you take it. The Do You Jobbers magic falls a little bit short. We run out of steam, and we have
like this.
We have a good season. I don't know. I'm hoping.
Is this kind of like an early GG?
No, this is my true prediction. This is actually what I think is gonna happen. But
I'm knock on wood right here.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm nervous as heck. Like I said, I've been trashing Rachaad White, that pick all year, and he's turned out to be a great asset for
top 5
team.
back. Top 5 back in the league.
Back. Yep, and you barely snuck into the playoffs after a lackluster start. I mean, it's just a team of destiny. This is Justin and whatever year that was all over again. I'm nervous. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm excited that we have this opportunity.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, next week's podcast is going to be fun for one of us.
Yeah, for somebody. So much fun. I might call in sick on next week's podcast if I don't get it done. So, well, enough about us. There is another game on the schedule, and that would be Mark's Flying Circus against Lang's football team. I think this is going to be a banger. Like, I'm really excited for this game. Keep in mind, Lang does have Alvin Kamara, who's playing now as we record this, has a 1.5 through the first quarter. So not an explosive start, but that dude is a touchdown machine, it feels like, in recent weeks. So, man, what do you think about this one? Like, I think it's it might come down to the buffer, and Mark might be pissed.
If it comes down to the buffer, then it was a great matchup. I do think the run ends here. Ashton, I mean, I'm just looking at a squad right now. He's got way too many playmakers. I mean, all these guys could go off for 25 plus this week, and he's got a terrifying team. He's been the number 1 team all year. I think it stays that way, and I fully expect to see Ashton's team in the championship next week. But I think Mark's team is going to give them a run for their money. I think the Jared Goff and Amon-Ra stack is going to come up big this week. And I think Derrick Henry's going to have a bounce back week. I see now that he's actually going to be starting Isaiah Pacheco now that he's back and healthy. He's been solid this year. I mean, Hawkinson's got a revenge game against Detroit, so I could see him having a great week. I think Mark's going to put up a lot of points here, but I just think Ashton's going to put up more. My final prediction is going to be Ashton's going to put up 122-ish, 125, and Mark's going to put up like 115. I think both of them outscore us this week, but Mark falls just short, and it's a disappointing end to the year. But that's my predictions. What about you?
Yeah, sorry, Mark. I love you. I think your team's awesome, man. But Ashton, I just don't.
Looking at this team, I don't like it.
I just don't. And who's been playing? Like, obviously he's a great player, but who's been playing really well, it feels like lately, is Josh Allen. Like, he makes so many plays, not only with his arm, but with his feet too. And when you have a quarterback that can run not only for touchdowns, but for yards too, like rushing yards are what, a 1/10 of a point for a yard, and it takes 25 passing yards for a point. So when you have a quarterback that can run, that's just added, that's just an added benefit, and Josh Allen's been making a lot of plays with his legs lately. Also, the Chargers suck. Their defense is terrible, and I feel like Josh Allen could easily go for 40. So hopefully most of those are to the stomp.
Forget that Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders offense just put up 63 points against this defense.
Yeah.
So, I think Josh Allen is going to put up like a 40-point performance this week. I'd be shocked if he doesn't, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I think there's just too many guys. I mean, we'll see what like Bijan does. Mike Evans is always good for a touchdown a week.
Yep, absolutely.
Tyreek does play Dallas, and their secondary is really solid. So we'll see what kind of scheme they run. But like, with the amount of playmakers, like we said earlier, that the Dolphins have, it's really hard to key on one guy. And once they start probably feeding, Waddle, they're going to, stop doubling Tyreek. And all it takes is one play to score 20 points when you're Tyreek Hill. So I think Ashton just has too much firepower. I really do. I think, like you said, Mark puts up a good fight. But if I'm going to go score here, I think Ashton puts up like 130. I think Mark's going to put up like 105, and I honestly don't think either semifinal game is going to be close, and I think that the 1 and 2 seeds are going to face off next week for the whole thing. That would be my prediction.
Yeah, I hope your prediction's right. For both sides. I mean, Ashton's got a hell of a team, and it's been all year, and I don't see anything changing, especially this week with these matchups that they have. I'm looking forward to it, and I mean, let's play some fantasy football. Let's watch some football. I'm excited. We got some Christmas football. Monday will be Christmas, right?
Yeah. Christmas Day, Monday. And so hang on, we got a
Christmas
Cooper Kupp in motion here. Oh, little flip out. Tackle him. All right.
Yeah, he got tackled.
Third and goal. We need a Cooper Kupp touchdown here. But with that said, Mark, I'm sorry about my prediction. I don't want you to lose. It would nothing.
I want Mark to win. Absolutely. 100% would rather have Mark win than Ashton.
Honestly, here's the thing is Ashton's beat my ass twice this year. So I would love to get another crack at him. But matching up with Mark, whether it's me or you in the...
Oh no.
Oh my God. He's dropped two in the end zone. That wasn't a great throw, but man,
right off the fingertips.
Yeah. Whether it's me or it's you, if Mark makes it, like, Mark in the championship will make me happy. Has he ever been in the championship? I know he's at a couple third place or maybe fourth place finishes, but I don't know if he's been top 2. So having him in the championship would be awesome. And man, I'd love to. Honestly, I don't care who I square up with. I just want to win this week and get there.
Yeah, I think if you beat me, I would love for you to be facing Mark rather than Ashton. I think a matchup of you versus Mark would be probably what the league is rooting for the most. Maybe not. Maybe they don't want to see you there.
They don't want to see the commish there, I promise.
I don't know. Yeah. But I know people want to see Mark there.
100%.
We'll have to see, though.
Yeah, we'll keep it short and sweet this week. I know we tried to drag it out a little bit just because we didn't have anything. We didn't have an interview.
No material.
But best of luck this week. I'm sure we'll be talking over the weekend. Maybe we can do a little Monday night watch party. And best of luck, Mark. Best of luck, Ashton. I think you guys are going to have a banger of a game, and I'm excited to see how everything plays out this week.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see you guys next week for championship week.
Hunter, thank you for doing this podcast with me. It's always fun. Go Lions. Let's go clinch the division, and let's have a hell of a fantasy football matchup this weekend. Let's do it, buddy.
Absolutely.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace.